So what if your daydreams weren't just an escape? What if they were actually a map? Well, that's exactly what Laura Laine's workbook on maladaptive daydreaming suggests. In this explainer, we're going to walk through its core lessons and exercises, uncovering a really compassionate step-by-step path that uses reflection and, creativity to guide you back to a more engaged life.
Right from the get-go, Laura Laine validates daydreaming as a totally natural response to stress. So this journey, it isn't about shaming yourself or trying to just get rid of your fantasies. Nope. Instead, it's about treating them like messages, clues to your hidden longings and wounds. The whole approach frames maladaptive daydreaming not as some kind of flaw, but as a part of you that's really just trying to be heard. And the foundation for all of this is self-compassion, patience, and curiosity, not some race for a quick fix.
And the key message here, really, is that this is a journey, not a destination. It's all about progress, not perfection. You should think of this whole process as having a gentle guide by your side, not, some drill sergeant shouting orders at you.
All right, so the first step is to basically map out your inner world. You're going to start by charting when daydreaming first showed up in your life, using simple timelines to pinpoint those key moments. This means reflecting on external pressures, things like school, family, or social challenges, and really understanding how your mind learned to respond in that way.
So, once you've mapped out the when, the next logical step is to explore the why. What's the emotional function of these fantasies, right? Are they a refuge from fear, or maybe boredom, or loneliness? The workbook guides you to journal about your most common daydreams and the specific feelings they bring up.
Laine wraps up this section with some really great reflective questions, and they're designed to help loosen that feeling of shame. By the end of it, you start to see your daydreams as these adaptive habits that actually served you at one point, and as patterns that you now have the choice to understand and transform.
Okay, so to build on that awareness, the next chapter introduces a really powerful practice, consistent observation. You'll be using a daily log to track the patterns, noting things like the time of day, your emotional state before and after, and the specific triggers that seem to pull you into a daydream.
After you've been tracking for a couple of weeks, you're going to start to see patterns emerge. The next step is to visualize all that data in a mind map. This is such a powerful tool because it helps you see the clusters of triggers just at a glance. Like, oh, there's the stress before a meeting, or that loneliness that kind of creeps in at night.
The whole goal of all this tracking is to cultivate what's called a non-judgmental witness mind. And what that means is learning to observe your thoughts and feelings without just getting swept away by them. From this place of calm observation, you can start to see how your inner world connects with the outer world. And that's the foundation for making a truly conscious choice.
All right, now we dig even deeper, right into the roots of the habit. You're prompted to explore those early experiences of overwhelm, moments when reality just felt unbearable, and the core beliefs you might have internalized along the way, like, I'm not enough. A really central exercise here is to actually have a dialogue on paper with the part of you that escapes. You literally write from both perspectives, your conscious voice and the daydreamer's voice. And this reveals so much, the compassion and the conflict that's going on inside. By doing this, you really start to see the emotional needs driving your fantasies, and that is the first step toward meeting those needs in real life.
So what about the resistance that inevitably comes up? How do you work with that? Well, the answer is gentleness. This chapter introduces some meditative practices that are designed to soothe the mind that's kind of stuck in these loops. You'll learn a simple breathing technique for when that urge to daydream is really strong, and also a loving-kindness meditation to offer some compassion to your inner child.
The journaling exercises in this chapter get you to list affirmations that address your specific fears, things like, I deserve rest, or my creativity can flourish in reality. You also get to write a letter from your future self, which is so cool, celebrating your courage and just facing the day. This whole chapter really reframes healing as more of a tender partnership with yourself, rather than some kind of internal battleground.
Daydreams, they often shimmer with our deepest desires, don't they? Adventure, recognition, connection. Laine shows you how to pull out concrete goals from your most vivid fantasies. So, you pick a recurring fantasy and you ask yourself, what is the core longing here? What skills or qualities does my fantasy self have? And then, how might a small, real-life step mirror that skill? And to make this real, there's a worksheet that guides you in setting these powerful micro goals. We're talking small things, like writing just 100 words a day, or reaching out to one friend each week, or finally signing up for that class you've been thinking about. The whole goal is to honor the creative energy of your daydreams,
but by redirecting it toward tangible growth.
Now, this is where it gets really interesting. We learn to harvest the wisdom from our daydreams instead of just dismissing them. By identifying recurring themes, betrayal or triumph, you can start to uncover your core values. And the exercises get really creative here. You might sketch your dream characters to understand their roles, or list the lessons that each scenario is trying to teach you. You might even write a press release from your dream world about a real-life achievement you made. It's all about turning that fantasy into fuel for real, actionable change.
Okay, so after all that deep inner work, the focus now shifts outward. It's time to take all those incredible insights and use them to design a reality that's genuinely worth returning to.
And here, you get a whole toolkit for building a life that can actually compete with your fantasies. This includes things like a daily joy audit to intentionally schedule small, nourishing activities. It also includes relationship check-ins to foster real connection and an environment scan to maybe declutter your physical space. You'll use all of these to create a personalized engagement plan, which basically proves that real life, when you consciously craft it, can be just as vibrant as any imagined adventure.
The closing chapter really invites you to stitch together your journey so far. You'll go back and revisit those earlier logs and maps, and you'll note the shifts in your awareness and your habits. Laine even provides a progress collage template, which is a visual collage of words, images, and symbols that represent your new, emerging reality.
And the final exercises are all about integration. You'll write a victory letter to your daydreaming self, and, this is really important, you'll draft a maintenance plan. Because let's be real, old patterns can resurface, and that's totally okay. Laine reminds us that setbacks are a normal part of growth, and she provides some grounding rituals to help you navigate those difficult moments when they come.
Ultimately, this entire journey is a celebration of your return to life. It's not just an endpoint, you see. It's a whole new beginning, and now you're armed with more self-awareness and compassion than ever before.
So if you want to take this journey even deeper, here are a few ideas for you. You could try blogging about your experience to connect with others. You could pair the workbook with mindfulness audiobooks, or maybe join an online support group to share stories. And for those of you who really want to explore the psychology behind it all, you could look into ideas like narrative self-construction, which is all about how we create our life story to get even more insight into your own patterns.
So we'll leave you with this one question to reflect on. What is your dream world trying to tell you? Thanks for watching.